guys, welcome back to Astrea's Broken Heart. We're playing episode 3 in season 2, and yeah. Now I remember. Lots of bad stuff was going on. Okay, that's all the men, they're pale. Oh, demons among us. That's terrifying. Alright, bud, sure. Here we go. Warning, this episode contains violent scenes and descriptions of death. Please read on with caution. Oh boy. This time, there was no conversation with the clients. Their half-decayed corpses stared at the world with empty, indifferent eyes. The last words they had tried to leave behind were smeared as bloody imprints on the walls of the cozy living room. Forgot to put the outfit. They were afraid of their daughter, and now they're dead. And their child is covered in blood and staring at us with really creepy eyes. Melody listened to the distant sound of waves crashing against the rocks. In daylight, its beauty would have been mesmerizing, but at the night, it looked like a monster reaching out with black tentacles. It climbed up the stone ledges and sought to swallow the unfortunate village whole. I need the name. Melody imagined that the darkness had indeed won, covering everyone in a mass of dark water. The muffled words of her colleagues barely broke through the still air that reeked of blood and decay. She won't tell. Oh, they're trying to question her. My name is Tina. The client's daughter proudly sat cross-legged in the middle of the living room, ignoring the corpses around her. Her eyes gleamed feverishly. Something was clearly trying to break free from their depths, something at odds with her frozen mask of complete indifference. Did you kill your parents, Tina? The grave cold clung to Melody's leg with sharp, unshakable talons and crept upward. Melody could feel it seeping beneath her skin, coursing through her veins. The child's serenity in that mist of such horror was nauseating. Did she really kill them? Girl, she's a witness and she's in shock. She's just a murderer. This one's like skeptic, I think. I'm not certain about this one. This one is probably faith. What round am I playing? I think I'm playing Davis. Oh, I have a weird camera thing going on my screen. Let me try to fix it. Okay, I think I got it handled. Okay, here we go. Right, she's possessed. There was something disturbingly compelling in her pupils, something wrong, something impossible to look away from. It was as if their black void held terrible secrets, the secrets of a person who had lived many lives. How could a child evoke these emotions in me? Did I kill? No. Call an ambulance, please. Melody was trying very hard to avoid looking at the corpses, but the unexpected request forced her to glance at them again. The woman lying on the floor was missing significant chunks of flesh from her arms, abdomen, and thighs. The man's face had been gnawed off. Gnawed? Maggots were already wriggling in the gaping holes, indicating that the parents had been dead for some time. I'm afraid the ambulance won't be of much help here. Then the police. Call the police. That's a reasonable idea, is it? Melody's hand reached for her phone. Felonia gently intercepted it. No police, Melody. Not until she says the name. But she already introduced herself. We need the name of the demon that possessed her. The little girl pouted and frowned. How can you be so sure she's possessed? She's really possessed. Shouldn't we at least talk to her first? Oh, I have so much to tell you. So much. Melody swallowed and took a step toward the child, but Cassio placed a heavy hand on her shoulder and pulled her back behind his broad frame. All right, let's end this circus. With a nervous shrug, David broke away from the group and moved forward menacingly. Oh, but interesting that you had a nervous shrug. I'll say every name in turn. I've got all night. You know how long that night can be, don't you, Tina? David's words had a strange effect on the girl. Her mask of indifference cracked and tears streamed from her eyes. Please, don't hurt me. Please. The piercing scream cut through the air with such force that Melody jumped. What are we even doing? Stop. Stop it. Stop scaring her. Melody broke free and raised her hand in a warning gesture to keep Castiel at bay. Whatever happened here, she's just a child, and we owe it to her to listen. Felonia gave David a meaningful look and shrugged, as if leaving the decision to him. She won't tell you anything, Melody. Encouraged by the prospect of being heard, the girl jumped to her feet. She glanced at Castiel, but wisely stayed where she was. I'll tell you everything, sweetie. Everything. Don't like that you call me sweetie, but okay. Melody was appalled by the girl's strange choice of words, but she found the strength to continue the conversation anyway. What happened here, Tina? A reunion of parents with their daughter. Oh boy, so the daughter died first? So emotional, with tears, hugs, excruciating pain, screams, and a frozen plea in their eyes. And what happened to you? To me? The girl sniffed like a dog and squealed with delight. Oh, how funny you are. Searching for lost faith in the lair of these monsters. You better choose a different path, darling. Theirs doesn't lead to God. It leads straight to hell. So interesting, she's saying that their path doesn't lead to Shepha, but Shepha Malam. And there's so much lust in you. How do you even control yourself? So dirty. Do you want to wallow in sin despite the parents who abandon you? Which one of these three attracts you so much? Which one do you long to surrender to? The words were so unexpected that Melody didn't immediately realize they were directed at her. Poor girl. Confused about herself and the whole world. Do you want to go back to your childhood and fix everything? To be the first to poison her morning cup of coffee and free your beloved, spineless mom from her shackles? Enough. The girl ended her monologue with barking, hysterical laughter. All the nasty things she says seem so accurate. It's alright, David. She's in shock. Though it seems like I'm the only one in shock here. David, you're not so easy to provoke. That's worthy of respect. David ignored the girl's hysterics. He began to speak in a language that vaguely resembled Latin. A strange prayer flowed quietly and monotonously from his lips. I'll find the sigil. It has to be here somewhere. The girl jerked toward Castiel, but Felonia's gaze pinned her in place. Better not move, unless you want to lose your limbs. The threat had no effect on the girl, but it did affect the evaluator. Sigils? Latin? Corpses? Threatening to dismember a child? What the hell? Melody realized something. With every minute they spent in this room, it would become harder and harder to explain to other people what they had been doing here for so long. We need to call the police. Why do we need to call the police? Felonia is already here. What better police officer do we need? Not a chance. Cassian was tossing books and anything else he could find onto the floor. The girl watched his attempts with fascination and taunted him. Keep looking, filthy spawn. My name is Legion. That must be a fake name, because names probably give power. But interesting that she would use the word Legion, though. Melody couldn't pinpoint the moment when her services were no longer needed. Why are they so sure that the girl is really possessed and not just sick? The only consolation was that no one was physically touching the child. But judging by the changing expression on the girl's face, something was clearly happening to her. She foamed at the mouth and snarled, trying to reach David. Shut your mouth, you disgrace. You were unworthy of the knowledge your father instilled in you. I'll gut you like a pig and eat your insides. The girl screamed in a high-pitched, hysterical voice as though she was throwing a tantrum. The child's eyes clouded over as if someone had poured ink into them. In response to David's words, the darkness came alive and flowed from the girl's eyes like murky, dirty water. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut up. Melody could have sworn that there were serpentine shadows dancing on the walls. As if tethered to her by their tails, they all began at the child's feet and spread across the room. Oh. The girl thrashed and screamed, but she couldn't move from that spot. Something held her in place, preventing her from taking a step. And her gaze, full of hatred, was directed at only one person, David. What the hell? Melody couldn't deny it. Placebo or not, the words truly had some power over the child. Tina's body trembled. Then, the trembling turned into convulsions. It was as if her blood was boiling inside her, rushing through her body in a powerful surge. Is she having a seizure? It didn't last long. At some point, she grew still. Her gaze dimmed and lost all focus. With an expression of complete serenity, she fell silent and lay down on the floor. All the shadows that had filled the room disappeared. Only an oppressive silence remained. Did it work? Without a name, it only evicted the demon from the body. It didn't banish him back to hell. This time, no one stopped Melody as she approached the child. She crouched down beside her, trying to find a pulse or feel her breathing. Like I said, I think he killed the child first. The girl's heart stirred under her hands, then suddenly stopped. Oh no. Damn it, she's not breathing. Not breathing. Melody pressed down the girl's chest. She tried to restart her heart, to breathe some oxygen into her, but to no avail. Cassio attempted to calm her growing panic. It's just a shell, Melody. Leave it. Is that really how it works? Doesn't exorcism set the soul free? I mean, the soul? Why didn't she come to her senses? What do we do now? We're going to jail. So Tina's soul can't be saved. Where has the demon gone? Can someone really sell another person's soul? The deal was probably made by the parents. Their blood flows in her veins. So they did this to her? Is that why she died for... Why is that like a perpetual theme of this whole story? It's like the children paying for the sins of their parents over and over again. I don't know what they wished for in return, but it clearly wasn't what they got in the end. A cold, hopeless feeling filled Melody's insides, but a faint glimmer of hope tried to break through. You can help her. Heal her like Mikhail did. The emotionally charged plea surprised everyone far more than the possessed child did. Felonia stuttered and shook her head. We don't have that kind of gift. None of us do. Felonia kneeled down and took over from the evaluator, continuing to administer first aid. She did so calmly and methodically. That gift is too rare, and not everyone who is blessed with it can develop it to the extent that Mikhail has. I'm sorry. An ambulance is already on its way, Melody. After a few minutes, they heard the sounds of sirens, and at that moment, Melody felt a faint heartbeat. Cassio picked the girl up and carried her outside without a word. David followed behind him. This is just a nightmare. Possessions, demons? The cocoon Melody had been hiding in was covered in ugly cracks. Through them, she could see an unfamiliar world, a terrifying world. It crashed like a stormy sea against seemingly unshakable foundations. It tried to break the cocoon and reveal itself to Melody in all its terrible glory. There are no limits in this world, but is it really necessary to sail so far? Another thought squirmed in her mind like a worm. Maybe if I called the police, the girl would still be alive? Doubtful. As if guessing what she was thinking, Felonia remarked, "We're lucky no neighbors came to check out the commotion. Usually we don't have time to save every bystander from the bloodthirsty possessed." You managed to avoid potential casualties. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if we need a police officer, then all we need to do is call Felonia. Have her take care of it. Because we need someone who has knowledge from both sides, you know what I mean? Like, no random police officer coming in is gonna know what's going on. They're gonna be like, hey, step away from the child. And as they go over to get the child, then they get, like, massacred. Poor things. So, like, I just couldn't see any way of that going down well. Felonia motioned for Melody to follow her. She headed for the exit after the rest of their colleagues. Now we really do need to wait for local police. How do we explain all this? With words. Which is why we need to talk to them before they enter the house and lose it in desire to chat. Melody walked around a bit, trying to calm down. But no matter how hard the fresh sea air tried to wash away the stench of the house, it didn't work. The smell of blood and decay stepped outside with him, clinging to her nostrils. Melody wasn't sure what to do with herself. She wandered back to the group gathered by the road. Cassio tensed when he saw the evaluator approaching them. You're not feeling well? Given the situation, it was hard to feel well, but strangely, Melody didn't feel like fainting. Maybe the miracle Mikhail performed has expanded my mind? I'm fine. I just don't know what to do with myself. David smiled wearily and kept the conversation going. I can only imagine how many thoughts are swarming your head right now. Of course, this is my first encounter with a demon. It's a wonder I haven't lost my mind. Demons come in many forms. Some are bloodthirsty, others are so captivating it's impossible to look away from them. But they're certainly not the kind of evil you read about in books. Not all of them. His words contradicted those instilled in Melody by her parents. David's like, hey. Not all demons are bad, you know. There's a good one right here. Next, you'll tell me that demons can be good, are capable of love, and have families. Yeah. And that angels are evil and couldn't care less about mortals. Yeah. Yeah. Especially in Heaven's Secret, that's kind of what we see all the time. Like, well, in most cases. Like, Lucifer's dad, obviously, crazy. Not a good example of that. But, like, Mimi's dad, her parents, very freaking cool, very freaking loving. Winchesto was way more loving than my mom was, Rebecca. I'm just saying. Angels can really, really suck. Fincio, he loves Dino. I can tell he's a terrible father. I'm just saying. I don't get it. Well, let's hope that angels are indeed good and care about humanity. Depends on the angel. I guess that's how it is in most things. It just depends on the person, you know? Felonia was lost in thought. She paid no attention to the ongoing conversation. She kept looking nervously down the road, waiting for the police. As soon as the lights of approaching cars appeared on the horizon, David and Felonia moved toward them. Melody watched from a distance. She tried to guess how long they would all be kept in this place. And as if we're lucky enough to be treated as witnesses, not suspects. David made emotional gestures as he tried to convey some information to a thoughtful-looking policeman. Two of his colleagues, probably forensic experts, entered the house silently. The policeman listened intently and nodded at every pause. It feels like Somnus and Furious set us up with this assignment just to get us thrown in jail. Cassio just shrugged in response. It wouldn't be the worst outcome, considering the fact that those two have taken up residence in our home. When the policeman finally approached them, Melody braced herself for the oppressive atmosphere of an interrogation room. But the man just sighed heavily, hesitant to go inside. What did they do to deserve this? One tragedy after another. What other tragedy are you speaking of? And is it specifically this family? First, the daughter. Wait, if this girl's not dead... One tragedy after another. Because I assumed that when they said the girl died first, but she still has a heartbeat. She's still alive, technically. So if they're not talking about her, did they have another child? Did that child die? And maybe they were doing this in some sick, twisted way to, I don't know, get their child back? Maybe they love one more than the other. I don't know. And I wonder would this have been the guy that would have come if we had called the police and gotten killed. Well, you hang in there. If you see anything unusual, call us right away. The policeman nodded and spoke again, not addressing anyone in particular. Thank you for coming. It's a shame it was too late. Such a close-knit family. They love their daughter so much. Okay, so maybe not? The man took in jittery breaths. He continued to mutter words that no one needed anymore. But if they loved her, then they wouldn't have done that to her. We can go home. Just like that? Make sure you're free to go or express condolences. This is probably more Faith. I'm sorry I didn't it this way. I'm sure their souls are in a better place now. Maybe. Yes, of course. You're welcome to stay for the funeral if you like. Melody wasn't sure how to respond to such an invitation. She fell silent. I'll hide the fact that Tina killed her parents. It'd be too much for our small village. She's just a kid. With a quiet sob, the man wiped away a single tear with his sleeve. How could someone hit their head so hard that they start attacking people? The rhetorical question was clearly meant to go unanswered, but Melody decided to respond anyway. If the impact damages the frontal lobes of the brain, it's possible. Simple reasoning suddenly made her want to tear her hair out. If Tina had brain damage, she should have been rushed to the hospital. And instead we recited prayers to her. Our stupidity could have caused her to die of a hemorrhage. How exactly did Tina get injured? An accident. The school bus overturned, almost all the children died. Only Tina and one other girl, Laura, survived. Okay, so they didn't have any other children, but Tina was in an accident that hurt her pretty badly. Oh, so she was injured. Maybe they were using the ritual. Okay. Maybe what they were trying to do was make a pact with the demon to make her better. But of course, they messed around and found out that you don't make pacts with demons like that. She was in a coma for almost a month. The doctors told her parents to prepare for the worst, but she suddenly woke up. What has to snap in a person's head for her to kill her own parents? Melody was completely confused by this information. She continued to reason. If the trauma put her in a coma, then an altered state of behavior is somewhat understandable. Few can endure a month without consciousness. She may have forgotten not only her family members, but even her own name. It seemed that Melody had found an explanation for the child's strange behavior, albeit too late. But how do I explain her eyes and black tears? If she came out of such a long coma, why was she at home and not in rehabilitation? She was discharged a few days ago. The doctors said it was a miracle. She was behaving normally and all her vitals were fine. The parents of both girls prayed for them day and night, but I guess miracles just don't happen. Or maybe it's not God who answers prayers, but the devil. Yeah, because we know Shepha doesn't care. He closed ears, don't care. If it don't serve him, he ain't worried about it. I think I need to ask about Tina's parents, about the bus accident, about the other girl. I want to hear more about the bus accident first. How did the accident happen? The bus driver fell asleep at the wheel. He said he'd lost his vision at some point, but even if that's true, I thought the parents would have forgiven him. So he survived? Yes, but he hanged himself almost immediately after. Alright. What can you tell us about Tina's parents? Nothing bad. They were both archaeologists. About the other girl. What happened to the other girl? Laura's father is the pastor of our Protestant church. His daughter was in the same ward as Tina. Unfortunately, while Tina's parents were crying tears of joy, the doctors declared Laura brain dead. Her father begged for a few more days to say goodbye. I believe they were supposed to take her off life support this morning. The team members glanced at each other, all thinking the same thing. We're going to visit the other girl in the hospital. Can you arrange a car for us? For a moment, the policeman's eyes lost their focus. Melody feared that David's boldness would get them taken to the police station after all, but that didn't happen. Yes, of course. We don't have many officers here, but I'll find someone to accompany you. That was weird. Melody mentally braced herself for a sad scene. But instead of the crushing feeling of impending death, she was greeted by a celebration of life. The second girl had woken up from a 4th-degree coma after the demon went missing. Only Mikhail's healing can compare to this miracle. A patient who had been prepared for the morgue not only opened her eyes, but also felt great. The doctor and nurse on duty would have continued to fuss over her and argue about which test to run first, but then they were distracted by Tina arriving by ambulance in critical condition. The overjoyed father stared unblinkingly at his revived child. He literally did not react to any external stimuli. But the sound of the door locking and the room filling with strangers finally brought him to his senses. Excuse me, but you're not supposed to be here. Don't worry, we'll just ask you a few questions and then we'll be on our way. Melody kept her eyes on the girl sitting on the bed, but the child just smiled blissfully and showed no signs of possession. No signs, huh? Child, that girl looks dead. Sure, we'll just say she's recovering from coma. David nods to the child and begins his questioning. Can you tell us how this happened? If you're reporters, I'll have to call hospital staff. I'm with the police. If you don't want to answer us here next to your daughter, we can arrange an interrogation at the station. The man immediately gave in. All right, but I don't know how to answer your question. Laura was supposed to die today, but instead she woke up. With God's help, huh? I hear you're a pastor. The man turned away in embarrassment and answered evasively. We've prayed with Tina's parents day and night, and their daughter woke up a few days ago. Today my Laura woke up. It's a miracle. Yes, we just came from your friend's house. That miracle, as you call it, killed her parents, but she ate them piece by piece until we arrived. David, did you have to? The blood drained from the man's face, but not a muscle twitched. He took the uninvited guest aside and spoke in a lower voice. That's impossible. A girl coming out of 4th-degree coma without a single hint of brain damage. That's what's impossible. What do you want? To pray for your daughter's soul so that what happened to Tina's family doesn't happen to you. The man tensed and shook his head as if he sensed something. You're a pastor, aren't you? Is there a problem with that? Let's start with the prayer for her health. What do you think? There will be no prayers within these walls. David smiled approvingly and raised his voice instead. So you renounced your faith as soon as it helped you? Did you promise something of value in exchange for your request being granted, and now you don't want to deal with your benefactor? What God asked for in exchange for my daughter's life is none of your business. God doesn't ask for anything. Everything is already his. He most certainly thinks so. I gotta stop with the Shepha hate. Do I? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep it going. And he doesn't make promises for faithful service. He punishes the unfaithful. Yeah, you're right. He does not acknowledge anyone's sacrifice, but he will call you out anytime he thinks you out of line. Whoever you called upon, it wasn't God, and you know it. At Cassie's words, a chill went through the room. There was a pause. The girl's eyes flickered, but the brief spark quickly faded. Does she not want to reveal herself until we leave? So what prayer did you recite? Who did you ask to bring your daughters back? If I tell you, will you leave us alone? You and your daughter? Yes. The father accepted his answer, but there was something ominous in David's words that Melody immediately sensed. If we exorcise the demon from the girl's body, she'll fall back into a coma like Tina. She'll probably die. I mean, I want to say so strange, but I get strong vibes that that's the skeptic one. The last one I don't think I should say at all. Cruel or right? Okay. Let's examine that. It's cruel because why? Well, his daughter just woke up. However, it's not his daughter. So it's cruel that he was reunited with his daughter only for us to then take her away again. But, yeah, once again, it's not his daughter. And if we don't do that, he's going to die, and his daughter's body is going to be possessed and forever wander around killing people until somebody puts her down. And then, at that point, everybody's going to be looking at her sideways, and her memory is going to be completely tarnished. So, unfortunately, this is like, I don't know. That's not his daughter, and he'll have to come to terms with that. Yeah, it's gonna suck, but that's really... Alright, I'll tell you. Ugh. It is cruel, though. I hate that's not an answer for both. The man glanced at his frowning daughter and sighed heavily. Tina's parents were archaeologists. They were conducting excavations in our village. They weren't believers, but during the month we spent in this war beside our daughters, they found faith, and then lost it again. Despair oozed from every word the man spoke, and it wasn't going away. It was as if he feared his daughter would slip back into an oblivious sleep at any moment. That kind of hopelessness chilled to the bone. When the doctors told us to prepare for the worst, something inside all of us broke. As if we hadn't already been in hell all along. As if these trials were just beginning. And then Tina's parents said they had enough of praying, and they brought me a clay tablet. Daddy? Demon's like, shut up! What is it, my dear? The girl looked shyly at David and beckoned to her father with a thin hand. Oh, no. I don't feel well. It's hard to breathe. Yeah, come over here so I can slice your throat. The father forgot about everyone else in the room. He rushed to the door, but Cassio blocked his way. Where's the tablet? Daddy? The fear of losing his daughter again clouded the man's vision. His attempt to push Cassio aside failed. Then he lunged at Cassio with his fist. We need to call the doctors. First, the tablet. As if to provoke her father, the girl got a long, hoarse breath. Cassio blocked the father's next blow by simply tightening his grip around the man's throat. Now both father and daughter were wheezing. This has got to stop. Calm down. Don't scare your child. Laura isn't dying. Look at her oxygen levels. They're fine. Come on. Look at her vitals. Melody's voice made the man turn around. Indeed, all the monitors showed normal vitals. Give us the damn tablet and I'll fetch the doctors myself. Whoa! Please, call someone for help. I'm just saying, child, those things really seriously will start beeping. Like, when I was pregnant, I was and they had me in there, where, like, if I, like, slept on one of those tubes and they thought that my oxygen was going away, they were in that room. Okay? That thing would just start to beeping, and the nurses were in there. So, I don't think... I didn't think about that for a second, but I forgot where they were. But yeah, dude, that's not how that works. Instead of continuing to rush for the exit, the father suddenly gave in. It's in my bag on the chair. Now can I go? The need for doctors abruptly vanished. Laura jumped off the bed and scurried towards a chair on all fours. The tubes connected to her body by catheters stretched. The needles tore at her veins, but the girl didn't seem to care. I hate this. The room filled with the anxious beeping of machines seeking her now disconnected patient. There the beeps are. The father froze at the door, stunned by her behavior. Felonia was quicker. She grabbed the bag and jumped aside. You were a bee, and you're still a bee. Do you enjoy hurting others, Felonia? Do you want to feel the pain yourself? Try me. Felonia threw the bag to David, then she leaned forward slightly and assumed a fighting stance. Oh, I'm not going to fight you. I'll just tell you something about your home. Don't bother. No, it's you who needn't bother. Your home has long since burned to ashes. You're lying. Oh, no, I'm not. You're fighting here for nothing but ashes in your teeth and corpses under your feet. The girl laughed and crawled back onto the bed. She stared at Felonia with undisguised glee. That's nonsense, Felonia. Shut up. When was the last time you were home? A lot has changed. How does she know her name? Have they exorcised demons here before? Felonia's face contorted with the kind of harrowing despair that only comes when hope dies within someone. When there are no tears left, only absolute emptiness and helplessness. Oh, no. This demon gotta go. No. Mm-mm. You know, not you messing with that girl. Nope. No. This demon's gotta go. Her usually upright shoulders suddenly slumped and her arms hung limply at her sides. Poor little Felonia. Ask your bosses, if they were so noble, did they leave you a single grave with a name? Or did they pile them all into a mass grave, slaughtering them like rats? Felonia's gaze was detached. It rested on David, then on Cassio as if looking for support. Tried to say something when no sound came out. Put yourself together, Fel. Yes, put yourself together, Felonia. Be loyal, be submissive, and maybe they'll throw you their bones. So you can cry over them to your heart's content and bury them. Felonia staggered, then turned and left the ward. Melody's first impulse was to follow her, but she noticed movement out of the corner of her eye. The father was taking advantage of the confusion. He was trying to press the staff call button. Hey! Stop it, sucker! Melody rushed to intercept him. She gently caught his hand and looked into his eyes. Don't. That's not your daughter anymore. Do you understand? He might need a bit more information than that, but... The man broke free and put his hands on his chest. He clutched his sweater as if to soothe the pain in his heart. How is she not? Do you think I wouldn't recognize my own child? Melody would have liked to explain everything to him, but she didn't really understand what was going on either. Daddy, make them leave. The father ignored his daughter's strange behavior. He clung desperately to the past, a time that could never be restored. What do you want? What more do I have to do to get you to leave us alone? Did your friends ever tell you where they got this thing? David paid no attention to what was happening around him. He studied the ancient artifact, which had strange symbols on it. No. What a shame. Well, at least now we know your daughter's new name and can perform the exorcism. And what will happen after your exorcism? Your daughter will become who she was. As she was before you read the words on the tablet. Just an hour ago, Melody was ready to swear that she would never see anything more horrible than the sight of two dead, mutilated parents. But she was wrong. It was much more difficult to see a living parent who couldn't bear to part with his child. Please, leave us be. Tears welled up in the man's eyes. He didn't know which of them was in charge, so he addressed all of them. His voice trembled with despair. It was the voice of a man who knew that his entire life depended on someone else's decision. I have no one left but Laura. If her condition returns, she'll die. Please, if you have a heart, don't take mine away. It's not her, Papa. I can't. Oh my God. That makes me so sad. No, I hate this. The man received no response. He fell to his knees. I'll take her and leave. You'll never see us again. She won't harm anyone, I swear. Oh boy. You won't make it to the steps without her killing you. There was no point in explaining to him that the creature in the hospital bed wasn't his daughter. He already knew, but he didn't care. And he didn't care. God has taken everyone from me. My wife, my son. Oh God. I'm tired of proving my devotion, my love. There's nothing left in me. Let the devil fill that void. I don't care. I can't keep living with this hole in my chest. You have to let her go. He doesn't have to do anything. Shut up. It's so easy to give advice like that when you have no one. The demon openly mocked the man's grief. She tried to bring even more pain into the room. Enough. I don't need your permission. One way or another, I will recite these words. Laura's eyes became shrouded in a veil of black like Tina's had. Go ahead and recite them. I hope your tongue falls off. It's because of you that we're all stuck in this cesspit instead of ruling. Cowardly wretch. A small vial gleamed in David's hand. The girl's amusement vanished, her face twisted in genuine primal fear. I think she did that line better than I can. Yes. This time the demon didn't stay put. David spoke the first word in the language Melody was unfamiliar with. As soon as he did, Laura pounced on him. Ah! No! No! Stop! The frail body, weakened by the coma, proved surprisingly strong. Is this gonna make it on YouTube? A heavy metal beside a table flew into the wall near Melody's head with a deafening crash. David stumbled. He glanced to the side to make sure Melody was okay. Nope. Melody, go into the hall. Make sure no one enters the room. The meaning of his words didn't reach her immediately. All her thoughts were occupied with trying to comprehend what was happening. And what was happening in the ward just didn't make sense. Laura was choking on black water and screaming. Above her, a shadowy figure grew and spread. Arms sprouted from it and reached out to strangle David. There were more and more of them. The room was slowly being consumed by darkness. It drifted across the floor in a murky haze, spreading over the walls. Through the darkness, Melody saw terrifying, unblinking red eyes staring at her. Melody was brought back to reality by a quiet prayer. The girl's father had begun to whisper it. It kept them both from sinking into the abyss of madness. It allowed Melody to tear her gaze away from the nightmare and break free. In the corridor, she expected to see a crowd drawn by the noise, but the half-empty hospital remained indifferent to the drama. All its attention was focused elsewhere. Right, they don't have a lot of staff and all of them focused on Tina right now. Somewhere in the ICU, Tina was dying. Melody slid to the floor and leaned her back against the door. She felt like she was underwater again as she sought refuge from the heart-wrenching, animalistic howling. And only the prayer whispered by the girl's father echoed in her mind. Without realizing it, Melody began to utter the long-forgotten words herself. She sunk deeper and deeper underwater. Images of her parents flashed before her eyes. For the first time, Melody prayed for the repose of their souls as well. But as soon as the sounds behind the door faded to a whisper, Melody resurfaced. No matter how hard she was being pulled down, a ray of hope still shone through. It guided her to the exit. This too will pass. All this will definitely pass. Oh boy. That's a lot. That's a lot. A minute. I found Felonia on a bench near the hospital entrance. She was lost, alone, and trembling faintly. She hugged herself in a futile attempt to get warm. She need my company right now? Yeah, she needs somebody to talk to. Let me flip over to Felonia's, path, though. Okay. Here we go. Melody approached Felonia cautiously, as if afraid to startle her. Melody didn't ask for permission, she just sat down on the bench. I'll just sit here, I won't burden her with questions. Dawn was breaking in the distance. The first timid rays of the rising sun stretched across the horizon in a golden line. They drove away the darkness. Melody thought about how night is always followed by day. She hoped that life would be the same. Hard times will eventually end and a new life will begin. Melody was exhausted by the darkness. She was eager to let the light in. For the first time in her life, she wanted to be filled to the brim with it. She allowed herself to absorb hope, just to avoid recalling the black, empty eyes of the possessed girls. I'm so tired, Melody. Her hoarse voice brought Melody back to reality. I want to go home. To my family. For some reason, Felonia's words didn't come as a surprise. It was as if Melody had always known. She pieced this knowledge together just by working alongside the perpetually sullen woman. That's why she can't leave Astrea, even though she hates it so much. And now I don't even know if they're alive. Maybe they're all gone and my home really is nothing but ashes and graves. Felonia dropped her head into her hand and spoke in a lifeless, hollow voice. But I still have to be there, wherever they are. Even if it means lying in the ground next to them. Melody was sure that even if she knew exactly what had happened to Fel, she still wouldn't have found the right words. All her words had been left behind in the hospital room. Any question I asked now would be out of place. And no words can bring her comfort. Melody twisted her fingers in her lap. She looked at Felonia's hands, which hid her moment of weakness. At her back, bent under the weight of all the problems piled upon her. How can I help her? Give her a little hug. Melody wanted to pull Fel close, but didn't dare to. She placed her hand gently on Felonia's back, stroking it softly, almost weightlessly. She tried to pour everything into that touch. All her thoughts, all her desire to ease Felonia's pain. I'm so sorry, Fel. I'm so sorry that all this is happening to you. Felonia didn't immediately respond to Melody's touch, but eventually she did. She raised her head and gazed at Melody with a look of unspeakable sadness. Unaccustomed to showing her tears to others, she quickly looked away. She was embarrassed and miserable. At that moment, she seemed like a fragile creature that needs to be protected from the world. Melody moved her hand up higher to Felonia's shoulder blades and called to her. Fel? Unable to bear it, Felonia turned away. She did so with defiance. It was as if weakness was something disgusting, something that made her unworthy. It's all right. I'm here. Felonia saw Melody's willingness to accept her as she was. She finally gave in. She suddenly leaned into Melody, hiding her weakness on the evaluator's shoulder, and Melody opened her arms to her. She held Fel close. She felt thin fingers clinging to her and gripping the fabric of her clothes. Felonia's ragged breathing was warm against her neck. Melody stroked the officer's hair, trying to calm her. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Felonia's breathing gradually evened out. Her hands rested on Melody's back. Melody wanted to say something comforting. Something more substantial than empty promises about life's silver linings. Melody knew it was Laura's words that had upset Felonia. She took a chance. I don't know much about demons, but can they really be trusted? In response to her words of comfort, Felonia pulled away. She looked at the evaluator with a completely different, stern gaze. You're right, Melody. Demons can't be trusted. And I'm sorry about that scene. Melonia didn't understand the reason for Felonia's sudden change. She looked at the officer's face in confusion. Oh, was Fel really a demon? Is she talking about? I feel like she's talking about herself here. Because I can't decide if Fel was a demon or an angel. I don't know. Felonia untangled herself from the Melody's arms and stood up. She wiped away the dried trails of her tears. Thank you for supporting me, but it really wasn't necessary. Whatever Felonia was thinking were now her own thoughts, and they seemed to be causing her pain. Felonia clenched her fist and blinked away the remnants of tenderness. Her face returned to its usual scowl. I would give anything to leave this place. I hate it here. I should have no reason to stay. Melody could still feel the warmth of Fel's body on her arms, but there was ice in Felonia's eyes. Melody nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat and trying to keep a neutral expression. Why do her words hurt me at all? This time, it was the evaluator who had to turn away to hide her feelings. Felonia clenched her jaw but remained steadfast. This will be better for everyone. Felonia is afraid of her emerging feelings for you, but there is no way to uproot them. Only David and Cassio emerged from the hospital. Melody didn't want to ask what happened to the girl's father. She was certain that 3 people had died in the hospital that night. Everyone seemed exhausted. Even the usually upbeat David looked subdued. Are you ready to head back? The woman nodded silently and trudged away from the hospital. They decided not to hitch a ride. Instead, they opted for a walk to shake off the lingering heaviness of the night's events. Okay, let me switch back to the other one. Okay. As they passed the first girl's house, the group slowed involuntarily. Melody remembered Tina's words and the way she had spoken about David, as if she knew him well. Maybe I should ask him how that's possible? Ask. Melody approached David and deliberately slowed her pace. David immediately sensed that she had a question for him and slowed down as well. He glanced at the evaluator and put a friendly expression on his tired face. I won't even ask if you're alright. We all went through a lot today. Melody promised that she wouldn't bother him for too long. She bit her lip apologetically. It seemed like the demon knew you. Just in case, she clarified. Knew you better than the rest of us. He couldn't keep the friendliness on his face. David winced painfully at her words. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I thought you were going to ask if what you saw today was real. Or suggest that we all check into Goodland, or at least ask where demons come from. David interrupted her and spoke more gently. No, I'm really glad you're starting to get the hang of things. I'm glad you're not tearing your hair out over what you saw. It's just that I wasn't prepared for this particular conversation. Sorry. She didn't want to make an already difficult day even more complicated. Melody forced a smile. She tried to stay away from the subject she had brought up. Then tell me where demons come from. David smiled gratefully. He stared at the backs of their companions walking ahead of them with an enigmatic look in his eyes. The demon you encountered today is different from most. He can grant wishes. So all those stories about deals with the devils aren't just myths? Well, most of them are probably myths. It's not easy to summon a demon like that. Just wanting to sell your soul isn't enough. You need to say the exact words and have the demon's sigil, and, of course, you have to interest him. You have to offer him something of real value. The girl's parents offered their souls in exchange for the chance to see life in their daughter's eyes. Ooh, that's a vague promise. The heaviness that had settled in Melody's soul rose again, making her nauseous. But he didn't return their daughters to them. He tricked them. You have to be precise when making wishes, especially when your soul is at stake. I'm like, yeah, that sounded really vague. Just to see life in them? Like, whose life? Any life at all? Then that means it could be the demon's life. Oh, man. Yeah, you really gotta be careful. I understand they were desperate, but dang. I could definitely understand them being desperate. Like, that's my daughter. That's what like got to me so much. Like, it's like I like really empathize with that and like my daughter is my world, and I just Melody digested the information as she continued her questioning. And how often do you have to deal with him? Look, freaking tearing up again. This time, David's answer was evasive. Our agency, not very often. But you more often? Felonia and Casso had noticed their absence and slowed down. They gave them a chance to catch up. But Melody felt a strong desire to stay with David a little longer. He's so calm. He really is a good friend. Melody's eyes intentionally lingered on his profile. It hurts to see him so down. She desperately wanted to wipe the unfamiliar sadness from his face. She wanted to cover his skin with kisses, to hold all his heavy thoughts for him, to bury herself in his embrace and melt into the peace he always gave her. David felt her gaze and turned. Whatever happens, Melody, we can handle it. Do you believe me? Melody nodded. She replied sincerely, trying to put all her feelings into her answer. I believe you, David. He's willing to overcome any obstacle for you. Oh, this is pretty. A village of astonishing beauty remained behind them, but none of them would ever want to go back. And think about all the other families that lost other kids in that accident. And you have to wonder, was it an accident? Was it all just some setup? Because the demon's sigil was found really close by. So he wants to grant wishes that are shady, in a sense. So he could have been kind of manipulating things in the background. I don't put it past him. And I wonder, like, there's a little cave system right there. I wonder if that's what they were excavating at. It makes me suspect everything. Its magical nature hid an ugliness that had touched them and left stains that couldn't be washed away. The journey home was oppressively silent, but like any journey home, it felt much shorter to Melody. We're back, after some time. Melody decided to freshen up, at least in appearance, before reporting to her superiors. She took a quick shower and changed her clothes. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay. Oh. Interesting. Okay. For David file, I think we'll go with this. Nope, go. Now for my hair. Okay, interesting. Okay. So I like this hairstyle, but for some reason it looks weird when it's in dark color. It also looks like the highlights are weird. It looks better in this color. I think we go with this one. Yeah, let's not overthink it. We go. Melody wondered who exactly she would have to report to now. She decided to run through all the possibilities in her head, just in case. Somnus and Furious must be expecting me to crawl to them in tears, to beg them not to give me assignments like that again. You know what? They specifically gave me that assignment. They gave her the most difficult assignment possible to make her oh, wow. That's why it took so long. They wanted to find something really messed up. That's really, that's effed. That's really effed. Like, wow. That makes me really, yeah, I don't like them. I think I kind of hate them. This new world truly frightened her, but she wasn't going to give up her job. That's not happening. Melody assumed everyone would go to the debriefing together, but she didn't see any of the others outside of Mikkel's office. She didn't find anyone inside either. They've all vanished again. The living room was empty, as was the kitchen. They can't all be gathered in a bedroom, can they? And it didn't take me that long to get dressed for the meeting, so it can't be over yet. Melody listened carefully. She was trying to determine if there was anyone else in the house. The only sound came from the father's door in the hallway. A single dull thud, as if something not very heavy had fallen to the floor. No one has shown me this room. Maybe this is the office of our new bosses? Melody received no response to her knock. She opened the door and peered in cautiously. After making sure it wasn't someone's bedroom, she stepped inside. It could have passed for a library, but the shelves of the numerous cabinets held not just books, but also various trinkets. Stones, figurines, jewelry, even paintings. Melody walked past the shelves. She tried to find the source of the noise, some fallen object, but to no avail. That's weird. I definitely heard something. An unusual box caught her attention. It seemed to glow somewhat. It shimmered and beckoned. Without thinking, Melody reached for it, but when she heard a familiar voice, she immediately yanked her hand away. You shouldn't touch that, Melody. Oh, it's been a while since we had a conversation. Raphael. It felt like she hadn't seen him in ages. The fear she once felt toward him had dulled, but his eyes still seemed foreign to her. Or perhaps it was his unusual behavior that unsettled her. He seemed afraid of her too. He watched her warily and kept her distance. The gap between them felt physical. Melody wasn't sure if she wanted to cross it. It seemed safer on this side. I ended up here by accident. I heard a noise. This is our storage room for special items. Are these the items you appraise? Exactly. A gentle, shy smile relaxed his tense muscles. He remembered. He ran his fingers along the shelf and wiped away the dust that clung to it. Melody, I know it's unlikely that I could forbid you anything, but you really shouldn't touch anything in here. Are these items cursed? I feel like I should switch over to my Raphael. Hold on. Oh, here she actually has an extra line. I think it's that, after he said, you remember, she says, how could I forget? Melody genuinely didn't understand what he found so surprising. It seemed so obvious to her that she hung on his every word. Melody could not tear her eyes from his lips. She remembered their kiss. Has he been thinking about me these past few days? Raphael caught the direction of her gaze and blushed noticeably. Does he regret it? He ran his fingers along the shelf and wiped away the dust that clung to it. Okay, back to here. This item's cursed. Some are, but not all. This room is usually locked, but you managed to catch me when I'm here and it's open. I didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't waiting for someone to open the door for me. I was looking for Mikkel or Furious or Somnus. The box, why am I having a hard time? I want to say blocks for some reason. The box glowed brighter. Raphael motioned for her to follow him. He led her away from the tempting object. Why did it broke? What's my tongue? My words are so messed up. Why did it glow brighter when she said those words? Like, whose name triggered that? They went to talk to Felonia. They won't be back for a while. You can rest today. Melody sighed with relief. She couldn't help but smile. The last thing she wanted to do was discuss what had happened on the assignment. Instead, she desperately wanted to collapse into bed. But despite the obvious end of their conversation, she didn't move. There was one question swirling around in her mind, but she didn't have the courage to ask it out loud. Raphael seemed to feel the same way. He began first. Melody, that night in your friend's village, you went through a great ordeal. I know. Mikkel told me everything. The speech Raphael had obviously prepared lost its purpose. He hesitated. You saved me. Thank you. The gratitude didn't seem to bring him any comfort. It's a shame I don't remember that moment. Mikkel said it was impressive. Whether out of modesty or something else, Raphael averted his eyes. Would you want your memory back? Would you like to remember everything that happened that night? To relive the horror that Mikkel described? Do I want that? I think you need all the information, Curly Pants, so I'm gonna say yeah. It's my memory, after all. Whatever it is, I need to know. Even if it means losing sleep over it. It's a very bold statement. You're not afraid to face the past is commendable. Rip. Honestly, it's hard to believe what they say happened there. Even the news articles about the village feel unreal to me. And I have so many questions for you, but when I try to formulate them, they all turn into one very blunt and stupid question. You want to know who I am? Well, now I know that Mikkel is a healer, and that there are malicious demons in the world that you can sell your soul to. And if I'm not in the middle of a psychotic episode or currently confined in Gutland Ward, you could be anyone. It seemed the gap between them had finally closed. You're not having an episode. Melody glanced back at the glowing box without meaning to. Let me distract you from that accursed trinket. Let's pick something beautiful and safe for you. Come on. Raphael knelt at the door, then stopped at a small jewelry display. I've personally checked everything here. No curses. It's been a while since we've seen him smile. It's like a bomb. It's like they knew what I needed. They knew what I needed after that horrific mess. That was the rest of this episode. This is what I needed. Just Raphael smile, just to soothe my heart just a little bit. Oh, choose something for yourself. She immediately forgot about the glowing box, dazzled by the stunning beauty of the various pieces. Wow, how do I choose just one? Oh, okay, we guess we get to pick something. Okay, I guess it's this right here. Okay, I finally took the necklace off. Precious stones. Oh, that's cute. Silver. Gold. Precious stones. I like this. I like that design. I like the little dangly bit. Oh, that's cute. Oh, or get them all. Okay, we buy them all. Just in case I want to switch it up a little bit. Let me get the silver. Okay, we're done. Really? Can I? Raphael followed her gaze and deftly picked up the bracelet. Meh. Raphael's outstretched hand trembled, his eyes filled with hope. Like he's expecting some kind of trick from me. Instead of agreeing verbally, Melody extended her hand in response. He fastened the bracelet, then gently squeezed her wrist for a moment. He let go almost immediately. Still, Melody could barely hold back a question. What was that about? Your memory will return to you, Melody. Slowly, but it will. I'll be waiting. Melody didn't know if she would ever be able to enter this room again, so she took one last look around. Each object held a mystery. Each had an assignment associated with it. I imagine there's so many incredible stories stored here. She didn't want to distract Raphael from his work, but more than that, she wanted to stay a little longer. I can steal just a little more of his time. Do it. Since I'm free for the day, maybe I could help you with something? To her surprise, Raphael didn't refuse. I'm almost done. You can watch if you like. But for heaven's sake, don't touch anything, alright? Alright. Oh! He's so pretty, I can't. What the heck? Raphael sat down at the table. He gestured for her to sit across from him. He leaned over a black crystal. Oh, this song. I haven't heard it in a while. That was the perfect time to ask him my questions. I saw the items in the room. I saw what the crystal he's holding. Suggest grabbing a bite to eat. Okay, let's just go in order. What's he doing? Melody waited for Raphael to look up, then blurted out, "Tell me what the items you keep here." Raphael set the crystal aside and paused. He seemed to be considering what he could tell her. Maybe there's something that can make me invulnerable? I could really use that, with your new bosses and their assignments. Raphael forced a smile and shook his head. Felonia's armory at the police station would probably be more helpful. Here, you're more likely to meet a random death than immortality. Melody tried to avoid the dark direction the conversation was taking. She changed the subject. Maybe there's something that can make me young and beautiful then? This time Raphael smiled genuinely. I should be the one asking you for such an artifact. Am I that young? And that enchantingly beautiful? Melody blushed and looked away. The room fell silent. After a while, Raphael decided to break it with an unexpected confession. Melody, all my life I've been searching for beauty around me. I dreamed of seeing the whole world, but only now do I realize that I don't need to do that. I've realized that the entire world can be contained in the eyes of a single person. The words took her breath away. Her cheeks burned even more. Though there is something I might be able to give you. Raphael rummaged around the drawer and pulled out a small burlap pouch. He poured some powder into his hand. It looked like golden dust. This is pollen from a unique tree. If you inhale it, all your negative thoughts will leave you for a while. Melody wasn't exactly thrilled by Raphael's words. Is this some kind of ground-up drug? Offended, Raphael started to put the powder back. Melody quickly apologized. Sorry, it was a bad joke. A clear head is exactly what I need right now. Melody closed her eyes and prepared to breathe it in. A light puff was enough to send tiny sparks. She says A light puff was enough to send tiny sparks dancing in the air and tickling her nose. I love this girl. In an instant, the dusty office was transformed into a magical, wondrous place. The scent she inhaled was unlike anything she had ever experienced. She was overwhelmed by a freshness that cleared her mind and made her body feel light and relaxed. All her fears suddenly evaporated. It was like they had never existed. It was as if there was no past to mourn, no future to worry about, only the present. Lost in this magnificent feeling, Melody could barely find the strength to return to reality. My God, what is this pollen? You can make a fortune with it. I'm afraid my meager supply will only last for a few more inhalations. Do you spray this powder around the house? The smile faded from Raphael's face. What makes you think that? Melody waved away the sudden thought. Relaxed, she leaned back in her chair. Just a thought. Never mind. That seems suspicious. That's a little suspicious. Please put the thing away. What is it? I don't like it. Nope. What does this crystal do? The black murky surface of the mineral gleamed playfully, as if in response to her curiosity. It contains a dark entity. A curse? More like a creature. Melody involuntarily remembered the vial in David's hands. It had frightened the demon that possessed Laura and Tina. Is there a demon in there? The question surprised Raphael so much that Melody thought she had gone too far. You don't believe in demons? I thought everyone in the house believed in them. No, it's not that. It's just strange to hear you talk about it so casually. As if you really believe it. Well, if I started thinking past everything around me as part of a conspiracy, I think I'll wind up in Goodland much faster. And anyway, my parents taught me all through my childhood that heaven and hell exist. Angels, demons. I hope that I'll encounter more of the former than the latter. Raphael smiled. He looked at Melody with genuine curiosity. Would you like to meet an angel? Oh, I'd love to. I have a lot of questions for those white-winged beings. And what would you say to an angel if you had the chance? With so many questions that Melody didn't even know where to begin, she decided to start with the one that had troubled her all her life. I'd ask why angels allowed my father's church to be built. Why they let people hide behind their names to do evil. Why no one helped the children who prayed to them for help every day? I'd ask what angels are for, because I personally don't get it. Melody almost immediately regretted this unnecessary confession. God. Ooh. Feeling guilty, she fell silent. She tried to understand why she allowed herself to behave this way. Why now, of all times? I'm sorry, Melody. I really am. Melody held up her hands and tried to stop him. Sorry, I shouldn't just trauma dump on you like this. By the way, meeting a demon, if that's really what it was, wasn't exactly pleasant either. Though, to be honest, I had far fewer questions for him. It's almost funny. It's like accepting the dark side automatically frees you from any complaints. I think the world is much more complicated than that, Melody. And there's no absolute good or absolute evil in it. Except for the beast. You do consider it absolute evil, don't you? Raphael tightened his grip on the crystal nervously, as if caught in a lie. He averted his gaze. For a moment she thought she saw eyes flicker and then fade behind the smooth surface. I think I've had enough demon talk for one day. Raphael nodded and set the crystal aside. I couldn't agree more. With the tough conversation, Raphael is glad to have gotten to know you better. Now's the perfect time to ask some questions. Where did the tea come from? You been holding out on me, bud. Melody watched Raphael's methodical work. She felt her eyelids grow heavy. Wanting to stay a little longer, she began to consider possible options. Maybe I could get you some coffee? Are you hungry? Raphael immediately saw her true motives. He didn't humor her. Instead, he said plainly, Melody, if you're tired, go rest. I'll finish up here myself. I'll stay a little longer. I like it here. Raphael sighed, stood up, and went to the window. It was only then that Melody noticed a small teapot and a lone cup sitting there. Does he always work alone? A few minutes later, there was a fragrant cup of tea in front of her. What about you? Help yourself, Melody. I will continue to enjoy your company. The drink was delicious, but it didn't invigorate her at all. Melody decided to wake herself up with a question. Has anything terrible ever happened here? Raphael's answer managed to shake her up a bit. It could have happened today. That box you were so eager to touch could have shattered you into tiny particles and not put you back together again. My God, are you serious? Quite. Then why do you even keep such a terrible item around? Well, it's actually useful, and it's not dangerous to everyone. Not to you, of course. Of course. I think the only one in this house we don't know what to expect from is you. Raphael smiled and turned the conversation into a joke. Melody relaxed again. I bet he's just scaring me to make sure I don't touch anything in here. But there might probably a lot of grain of truth to that. Don't touch that box, please. Raphael's improved. Alright. The exhaustion that had been building up finally overcame her curiosity. Melody didn't want Raphael to have to carry her sleepy self, so she got up to leave. It was good to see you, Raphael. Instead of a friendly farewell, she heard a sudden request. Melody, promise me something. I swear I won't touch any of your artifacts. Excellent, but promise me something else, too. Melody fell asleep with the last of her strength and listened intently. When your memory returns, find the strength to speak to me. I promise. As she left the room, Melody was filled with a strange foreboding. But the exhaustion of the sleepless night pushed the heavy feeling aside and urged her upstairs. Hungry. Melody almost undressed as she walked, then she dove under the blanket. She closed her eyes and instantly fell into a deep sleep. Uh-oh, are we got a nightmare? It was so sweet and long-awaited that a smile settled on her face, but it quickly turned into a grimace of irritation. An annoying knocking dared to drag her out of Morpheus's realm. If it's that flying fox again, I'll strangle it with my bare hands. Flying fox. Melody angrily threw off the blanket and jumped out of the bed. The unfamiliar and harsh cold of the floor burned her bare feet. Melody hissed and climbed back onto the mattress. Did I sleep until winter? The knocking came again. Melody listened. Is she dreaming? A wooden cane slowly emerged from the shadows. It tapped dully on the floor as it moved further into view. Then a hand appeared, followed by its owner. This can't be happening. Melody. Philip Moore moved through the room like a ghost. Go away! Melody held her breath and watched his every move. Where are you, Melody? Give me a clue. Come on, whimper, whine. I'm dreaming. This is a dream. Melody didn't want to test how real her nighttime visitor was. She bolted from the bedroom. But when she realized the door was locked, she gave herself away with a piercing scream. Oh, my dear, it's just you and me here. Moore followed her voice. He reached out for her with his free hand. Someone help! Scream. Scream louder. Try harder. The king fell to the floor and both his hands wrapped around her neck. They squeezed the last bit of oxygen from her lungs. She had wasted it on a futile cry for help. Blood rushed to her head and pounded painfully in her ears. This is a dream. A dream. But the dream felt so real and the pain was so vivid. Come on, Melody. Open your eyes. Open your eyes while you still have them. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm so sick of him. Oh, I want to punch him. Oh, I'm so sick of him. I wanted to punch him because the first time they met at the bar and he was so pushy. Oh my goodness. Every time I see him. Oh, just revulsion. My goody gumdrops, dude. Get out of here. Absolutely. Ugh. Don't like him. Ugh. Okay. Well. Okay. So we're making progress mentally wise of getting our bearings with kind of more of the magical world, the world of angels and demons, the world of Heaven's Secret. Okay, and it's like certain things like now that we've kind of established it seems like the first season was more about us establishing who we were kind of in our secrets and mysteries, and it really does seem like there's like peeking into the secrets of finally of our co-workers and stuff like that. They're we're dipped into Felonia's Path. We got some real heavy glimpses there, some of David's little secrets, to see Raphael at work a bit more, and like they're slowly giving her more, like as they realize, okay, her mind is she's managing, she's coping with this information, that we can finally give her more and more, and so they're revealing more and more things. So now they can have a conversation about demons, like for real, so she can get more glimpse into the real dangers of the world instead of blindly closing her eyes to it. And I imagine it's like slightly less so on the skeptic route, but I think even on the skeptic route, some of those conversations will probably be the same. But yeah, so very interesting, very cool. All right, I'm excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this part right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and show the like button to love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. I got it back. Okay, bye.